die nummer 1 in darts. Enfield, die nummer 1 voor gebruikmachinen. Maschinenzoeker.de.
It'll shock some people that I'm taking a step back. It's not been an easy decision. Now I want to focus and do something that I really, really love.
Luke Littler, Bobby George, Raymond van Barneveld in a wheelbarrow. These are the most memorable TV commercials featuring professional darts players from 1985 to 2025. From Bobby George's mayonnaise catchphrase to Luke Littler's fake retirement for Xbox. What started as niche equipment endorsements has evolved into mainstream advertising campaigns worth millions of pounds, with darts players now appearing in everything from fast food commercials to luxury hotel promotions. Darts advertising tells the story of a sport that went from pub game obscurity to genuine commercial stardom. The journey began during Embassy's foundational sponsorship era, 1978 to 2003, when Bobby George and Eric Bristow secured landmark deals in the 1980s, but their actual TV commercial appearances stayed relatively rare. Phil Taylor's 16 world titles and long-standing Unicorn Darts partnership dominated the 1990s and 2000s, while Dutch stars like Michael van Gerwen and Raymond van Barneveld changed the eye. Advertising equation completely in their home market. Then Luke Littler's 2024 breakthrough catapulted the sport into mainstream consumer advertising on a scale nobody saw coming, with the 2024 World Championship final drawing 3.7 million peak viewers and 200% increased viewership, driving unprecedented brand interest. Bobby George, known as the King of Darts, fronted a series of UK television commercials for Hellmann's mayonnaise during the 1990s and early 2000s, and his catchphrase became the stuff of legend. "You know the big dollop's right" became synonymous with both the product and George himself, which was a rare achievement for a darts player trying to sell something that had nothing to do with darts. The genius of George's Hellmann's campaign wasn't sophisticated production or clever storytelling. Pure personality carried the whole thing, with George bringing the same showmanship from the oche to the mayonnaise aisle, complete with his distinctive jewelry and larger-than-life persona. This represented something genuinely unusual for the era, because a darts player had stepped completely outside the sports equipment ecosystem into general consumer products. Eric Bristow took a different path despite dominating the 1980s with 5 world championships. His landmark deal with Harrow's Darts in 1985 came in at £250,000, the largest darts endorsement at that time, and the signing ceremony got broadcast live on TV-AM from their Camden Town studios. That gave the deal unusual television exposure, but this wasn't a traditional product commercial where Bristow sold you something. His mainstream TV presence came from hosting the first 2 episodes of ITV's Bullseye, which reached audiences of up to 20 million at peak, rather than through advertising campaigns where he hawked products to viewers. Phil Taylor, the Power, built his 16 world titles into the most successful endorsement career in darts history through his decades-long partnership with Unicorn Darts. While Taylor rarely appeared in mainstream consumer advertising like Bobby George's Hellmann's campaigns, his Target Darts equipment deals and later Unicorn Darts partnership established the template for modern player endorsements. Taylor's commercial legacy included John Lowe's legendary 1984 televised 9-dart finish, which became one of darts' most iconic TV moments and demonstrated the sport's advertising potential during the Embassy sponsorship era. Michael van Gerwen has built the most substantial advertising portfolio of any active darts player, and he's particularly dominated European markets in ways that would make other professionals jealous. Machineseeker.com and its German counterpart Maschinensucher.de made him their central figure, and the 2019 and 2020 commercials showcase Van Gerwen's willingness to embrace humor without hesitation. One spot has him announcing, with perfect comic timing, that Germans can't play darts, can't play football, but are great at used machinery, and that line alone makes the campaign memorable. Over 500 commercials aired during the Darts World Championship on German TV channel Sport 1, which means if you were watching darts in Germany, you couldn't escape Van Gerwen selling you industrial equipment. The concept itself creates comedy through pure absurdity, because a 3-time world darts champion promoting a used machinery marketplace only makes sense when you understand Van Gerwen's massive popularity in German-speaking markets. The commercials were filmed at Machine Seeker's headquarters in Essen and ran across Germany, the UK, Netherlands, and internationally, turning Van Gerwen into the face of second-hand industrial machines. Van Gerwen's Dutch campaigns with Kuchen Concurrent show even more creative freedom, and that partnership has run since 2007, long before he became world champion. Multiple humorous Dutch TV commercials have aired over the years, and then the 2024 campaign featured MVG wearing yellow swimming trunks while sitting in a tent, which is exactly the kind of image you never knew you needed of a world champion darts player. The Douche als Michael campaign, which translates to Cheer Like Michael, took this partnership to another level at the 2024 Dutch Darts Masters. That activation produced over 350 fan-generated commercials, turning Van Gerwen's signature celebration into user-generated content that spread across social media. Dutch darts fans don't want polished corporate messaging. They want the personality that makes Van Gerwen compelling on stage, and these campaigns understood that perfectly. Van Gerwen also fronted campaigns for Truck Scout 24 from 2019 to 2022, a 3-year brand. Ambassador deal with the commercial vehicles marketplace, and became an ambassador for Kempinski Hotels in 2024, representing Europe's oldest luxury hotel group. Van Gerwen dominates Dutch advertising through volume, but Raymond van Barneveld excels through sheer memorability and a willingness to look absolutely ridiculous on camera. The standout campaign came in 2023 with Chocomel, where Van Barneveld appears sitting in a wheelbarrow, wearing road worker clothes and a hard hat while drinking Chocomel chocolate milk. The commercial, titled When Life Gives You Chocomel, ran in both the Netherlands and the UK as part of a £5 million media investment, which means someone genuinely believed this concept was worth millions.
Deze is voor de boel laters. Want het is gewoon all good when life gives you chocomel.
Here's what makes this work as comedy. The UK version of the ad features Van Barneveld alongside Hide the Pain Harold, the famous internet meme personality, with narration by comedian Darren Harriott, and UK viewers unfamiliar with Van Barneveld expressed genuine confusion on social media at seeing a darts legend disguised as a labourer in a wheelbarrow. The campaign's success came partly from this cultural disconnect, because Dutch audiences immediately recognised Barney, while British audiences wondered who this mysterious construction worker was and why he looked so happy about chocolate milk. The most legendary Van Barneveld advertising moment might be his 2016 sponsorship tweet for Tonson HR Radiator Foley, which achieved cult status in Dutch advertising circles for being hilariously awkward. That tweet became so famous that in 2022, Tonson created a follow-up commercial dramatizing the creation of this legendary bad sponsor tweet, with the spot showing Barney in a creative meeting, rejecting all the agency's ideas before simply typing out his now famous post himself, advertising. That becomes self-aware and celebrates its own awkwardness hits differently than campaigns trying to be slick and professional. Van Barneveld has also appeared in TV commercials for Fibo, a popular Dutch fast food chain, and wore the Money Shop logo on his playing shirt during the 2011 UK Premier League of Darts season with accompanying promotional materials. Previous generations of darts players secured endorsement deals, but Luke Littler triggered a commercial revolution that changed what's possible for someone who throws tungsten for a living. The teenage sensation has signed more major brand deals in 2 years than most darts players achieve in entire careers, and each one seems bigger than the last. McDonald's chose Littler for their Big Arch campaign in 2025, which represents possibly the highest profile mainstream consumer advertising deal for any darts player in history. Created by Leo Burnett, UK, the commercial was filmed at Littler's local McDonald's in Warrington, and the spot shows him walking through a cheering crowd that mirrors his now famous tournament entrance walk, warming up and receiving order number 180 before taking a bite of the new Big Arch burger. What matters here isn't just that McDonald's chose a darts player, because plenty of sports stars get fast food deals. McDonald's chose darts over dozens of more established sports, picked a global campaign for a major product launch, and centered the whole thing around a teenager from Warrington whose job involves throwing pointed metal objects at cork boards. That's the real story. The Xbox campaign might be the funniest darts player commercial ever produced, and that's not an exaggeration. In September 2025, Littler fronted the Do What You Love campaign for Xbox's EA Sports FC 26 launch and the 2-minute film produced by Common People Films and created by agency MiI, plus shows Littler faking early retirement from professional darts to play video games. The premise taps into the Gen Z micro-retirement trend, with Littler deadpan announcing his retirement before the camera reveals him simply lounging at home playing Xbox, and the self-aware humor acknowledges both Littler's age and his genuine love of gaming. The campaign runs across Xbox YouTube globally and UK social channels, which means millions of people worldwide watch Luke Littler pretend to quit darts. Littler's Xbox partnership launched for the 2024 to 2025 PDC World Championship, featuring a promotional video showing him as a green comet crashing to Earth, alongside gaming content creators Shauna Games and Bateson, and the deal sees him wear Xbox and Score More logos on his match shirt. His renewed Target Darts contract from January 2026 dwarfs everything else at £20 million over 10 years, making it the largest sponsorship agreement in darts history. The From Target to Trophy TV campaign, produced by All Things Creative Studio, celebrates his journey from bedroom practice to world champion with Sky Sports commentary, and the Star Wars variant promotes the official Star Wars Target product range, with Littler wearing a Jedi robe throwing darts. Darts players in Jedi robes selling tungsten represents where the sport has arrived, commercially, and somehow it works. Littler's other deals include Boohoo Man Fashion, KP Nuts, Tag Heuer Luxury Watches, Specsavers, National Rail, and the Sidemen's Best Breakfast cereal brand. At 18 years old, he's built a commercial portfolio that eclipses veterans with decades in the sport, and the money involved suggests brands see him as a long-term investment rather than a flash in the pan. Paddy Power became PDC World Championship title sponsor in 2023, and they've produced some of the most creative darts advertising campaigns by treating players as comedic talent rather than just sports endorsers who show up and throw darts for the camera. Their December 2023 undercover Christmas advert remains a masterclass in sports marketing humor that actually lands. Nathan Aspinall, Johnny Clayton, Joe Cullen, and Chris Dobie underwent full prosthetic facial makeovers to participate in the Ali Pali Open, a darts tournament where fans played for tickets to Alexandra Palace, and the players interacted with fans in disguise before revealing their identities. The concept works because professional darts players are recognizable enough to their core audience that disguising them creates real comedic value, and the payoff when they reveal themselves delivers genuine surprise. Paddy Power's The Most Wonderful Time of Year Christmas advert for the 2023-24 season featured a mature couple, including George dressed as Ziggy Stardust, counting down to the World Darts Championship. Created in-house, the ad celebrates the Ali Pali atmosphere with fans in fancy dress, capturing the genuine weirdness and joy of darts' biggest event without trying to sanitize it into something respectable. The Bigger 180 campaign from 2024 to 2025 showed Paddy Power could blend humor with purpose and create something meaningful. Featuring Nathan Aspinall and Gary Anderson, the campaign encouraged men to get prostate cancer testing, and that activation raised over £1 million for Prostate Cancer UK through donations triggered by 180s thrown during the World Championship. Comedy and social purpose can coexist when the execution respects both. Sky Sports has created memorable promotional content featuring darts players that functions as advertising for both the events and the sport itself, even when they're not traditional commercials in the conventional sense. Their December 2025 Club 180 video features Luke Littler alongside Tottenham and England footballer James Maddison and Big John in a nightclub setting, promoting the 2026 PDC World Darts Championship. The humor comes from placing these disparate personalities together in an absurd premise, and the result feels more like entertainment than traditional sports promotion. The 2022 Bet365 US Darts Masters promo showed Peter Wright alongside Michael van Gerwen, Gerwin Price, and James Wade walking into a New York City bar, which created intrigue for an American audience that might not know these players yet. These promotional videos blur the line between advertising and content in ways that make them more effective than straightforward commercials telling you when to watch. The transformation from Eric Bristow's era to Luke Littler's portfolio demonstrates how dramatically darts' commercial appeal has evolved in ways nobody predicted. Bristow's £250,000 Harrows deal in 1985 was groundbreaking at the time, and today Littler's Target Darts contract comes in at £20 million over a decade, which represents an 80-fold increase when you adjust for the deal structures. Several factors converged to create this change during the transition from Embassy's cigarette sponsorship era through Ladbrokes and William Hill's betting partnerships to modern Paddy Power campaigns. The PDC's emergence as appointment Christmas television in the UK transformed darts from niche sport to cultural event that families watch together. Younger players' social media presence gives brands direct access to engaged audiences who actually pay attention, and darts' working-class authenticity has become commercially valuable in an era where audiences increasingly reject overly polished, corporate messaging that feels fake. Bobby George selling mayonnaise worked because he was Bobby George, unapologetically himself, with the jewelry and the personality turned up to maximum. Raymond van Barneveld in a wheelbarrow drinking chocolate milk works for the same reason. And Luke Littler faking retirement to play Xbox works because it's genuinely aligned with who he is as a person. The best darts advertisements don't ask players to be something they're not. The funniest darts advertisements succeed not because they're trying to be funny through forced jokes or manufactured scenarios. They succeed because they let darts players be exactly what they are, which is skilled professionals from working class backgrounds who happen to be very, very good at throwing pointed metal objects at cork boards. When Van Gerwen jokes about Germans and machinery, when Barneveld sits in construction gear drinking chocolate milk, when Littler quits darts for video games, the humour comes from authenticity rather than artifice, and audiences can tell the difference. Modern campaigns across brand social media channels, YouTube, and streaming platforms are extensively documented, unlike archival footage from the 1980s and 2000s, which remains scarce and difficult to locate. That documentation reveals something worth noting, which is that darts advertising has become genuinely entertaining content in its own right, rather than interruptions between programming that viewers tolerate. From Eric Bristow's televised contract signing to Luke Littler's fake retirement, darts players have gone from niche sporting figures to genuine advertising talent competing with mainstream athletes for brand partnerships that pay serious money. Along the way, they've produced some genuinely hilarious television commercials that celebrate rather than hide what makes darts different from every other sport. And that might be the biggest achievement of all, because the sport stayed true to itself while the money rolled in.